Like in real life, they either get assassinated or the character gets assassinated. Michael Jackson, you know what I mean? Who they try to do that to? Cat Williams, you know what I mean? Like there's like artists, or celebrities out there where this happens to, and you're just like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Where is this coming from? And my whole biggest thing is why? Like, why is this happening now? Fucking Ceasar Chavez represents all Chicanos out there. And it's kind of like, for this shit to happen, it just blows my mind. And people, like, I see this shit in the news like every day, and it's like, for what, bro? Like, so what?
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box. Now while the angels fly over my headstone.
We are back with another episode of the God's Hour podcast with your boy Big Serpavelli, back in the place to be, La Merca Superior, Palace 81 Studios. We are live in effect, live and direct. It's your boy Mr. 9 Times. Yeah, man, today's mathematics. It is Saturday, March 21st, 2026, which means it is wisdom and knowledge all being born to understanding. So we have to put our wisdom from the knowledge we get to gain understanding of ourselves. We achieve understanding from the things we learn and the things that we know. So to gain some sort of understanding in your life, you kind of have to put in the work and the effort. And just like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much simple. You have to put in the effort to know these things in your life, whatever it is you're doing. So if I know I have to do certain things, like, I don't know, let's just say if I know I have to get a new this goes back to the car, right? Fucking very like big theme in a couple last episodes, buying a new car, right? I have to gain the wisdom through the knowledge of, like, let's say the price of the car. If I know that I'm gonna get snaked on this deal because the car is worth $20,000, but they're trying to sell me at $30,000, why the fuck would I pay a dime more than 20 or even 19,000 when I know, you know, the actual value of it? That's me doing the knowledge, gaining the wisdom. And so now I can apply the understanding of, I ain't gonna pay for that shit. You know, you better lower that price from 30 grand. I don't know who the fuck you think you fooling. You ain't fooling me. And that's how we could gain understanding, through the knowledge and our wisdom. Peace. Today's drip check, we have the PSG Jordan 5s. These flop, by the way. I don't even know why they flop so hard, but I love these. You could get these for under what I got them for. I think I hit on them on sneakers. I didn't even buy them like after the fact. I just really like the colorway. I feel like I've worn them on camera, but I don't think I have. I love this shoe. The only thing I really don't like is the aged yellow soles and the pink. I don't like the pink on the pink laces are cool. It's like a super light pink, and I even like the pink on the tongue, on the inside of the tongue. It's like kind of looks like velvet or like silk or something. But honestly, the Jumpman and then the pink on the teeth, like on the sides of the shoe, like right here, I don't like the pink at all. That color, it looks like a very muted pink color. But nevertheless, I love these Jordan 5s. They're like different. I think they're just super underrated. I feel like the most underrated Jordan 4 of 2025 was the Cave Stones. The most underrated the Jordan 4, right? Did I say the 4 or the 5? The most underrated Jordan 4 was the Cave Stones for 2025. And I think the most underrated Jordan 5s of 2025 were the PSG Paris Saint-Germain right? The fives on the inside, it's kind of like a fucking soccer field or some shit like that. And on the insoles, I think pretty sure these are 514s. I got the snowflake gray tank top, the LMS militant minded fucking varsity jacket, and I got Adidas glasses, which I'm gonna take off. I gotta keep it kind of low because my parents are sleeping, but you know it's the weekend, so I'm pretty sure they're not even hearing me now. So I'm outside. There's no like, if I was inside, it'd be like fucking a different thing. But I just kind of wanted to say a couple of topics right now. It's 2:30 in the morning, and I'll probably make this a short. We'll probably go like another 30, like half an hour. You know, speaking of 30, we're in the works of the next show, the next couple of things that we're doing, and I'm excited for them. There's a big old mosquito. I'm glad I brought my jacket and I didn't. It's kind of, we're in a heat wave, so it's kind of scaring me right now. Let me just conclude the whole, like, with 30 miles, you know, shout out to him. We're getting like the next show going on. It's already booked. I already got all the artists. I got to make a group chat, and just reminding myself we're gonna extend it the time, so it'll probably be from 8 to 12, not 8 to 11 like I originally planned it. But honestly, bro, like half the lineup dropped out last time, and I didn't rebook those artists. I'm trying to give like rotate like artists and give them a chance, and or give like a chance to like those I've already like have proven and shown to me that they can rhyme, they can spit, they're reliable, and I could depend on them to come and rock the show. Once I feel like your heart's not in it, or you're not taking it as serious as I am, then it's just, I'm not going to give that opportunity to you, especially if you're not going to hit me up for no shows. You know what I mean? I don't understand a couple of things about like throwing shows. You know, I know what it is to be an artist and like looking for shows. And now I know what it's like to be a promoter, giving those opportunities out. And I just never would understand how people could take some of that shit for granted. The only time, shout out to Abe the Freak, the only time I canceled on Abe the Freak was when I felt like I was just doing shows like every like 2 weeks or every month at like Maywood, and I felt like either one, I didn't have my set all the way down, or two, I felt like I had been performing those songs, and I didn't feel like going to Maywood. Maywood was fucking far. I think to get there, I feel like either I don't even remember how I would get there, like to Maywood. I feel like I took the 710 down to get there. That makes sense. Taking the 710 down. It was definitely not, because when you take the 605 down, you end up like in Pico Rivera, Whittier, and all that shit. So the 710 sounds right, because then you're getting in a more like southeast Los Angeles, like around Linwood and all that shit. Downey, right? Is Downey over there? I don't know. I'm not good with my shit, like, you know, my geography of LA. I didn't grow up around that part of LA. But what is it? Yeah, so just pretty happy about that. Just getting a couple of music shit sold up. What was I gonna talk about? I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna talk about, but later. But oh man, you know what? I forgot to bring the Jordan 6s, but the Cops for February, I forgot to bring the 6s. I had them on my bed too, ready to go. But those were the only shoes that I copped in February. They're amazing. I kind of wouldn't want to put the box on the floor anyway, but honestly, if I were to only buy one pair of shoe for February, it was gonna be like that one. Like Jordan 6s have quickly become like my favorite. It's probably, what did I say? I think it was probably the 6s, the 9s, the 5s, the 3s, and the 4s, something like that. I mean, all Jordans aren't like kind of like comfortable to wear, but the 6s for whatever reason are just like awesome to me. Like they're fucking, for how bulky it is, you know, you would swear like the shoes are like fucking boots, but they're not, you know. And I just think it's interesting when you look at like, you know, 85, you had the Jordan 1. Those were fucking, I don't know how those are considered basketball shoes. I don't have a pair of Jordan 2s. I want some though, but probably like low tops, because I don't like the high top Jordan 2s. Those were like the luxury made in Italy, I think, Jordan shoe. Then the 3s obviously are a fucking banger, but they're still flat. 4s are still same thing, flat. 5s are kind of like an improvement on the upper, not really the lower. The lower air unit is you see more of the air bubble, but I really feel like it's the same from the 3, the 4, the 5, and even the 6. I don't have a pair of 7s, but 8 is definitely where they kind of took it somewhere else that I didn't like. It's a super heavy shoe. It's a perfect winter, like New York fucking shoe, because I don't even like the fucking how like warm it is. It feels like you're wearing like some fuzzy fucking, Uggs or some shit on the inside of the shoe. But going back to like the infrared 6s, I really like those. I really enjoy those as a Jordan shoe. I didn't even think I'd be like a Jordan head like this, but it's one of those things where you don't really get into it until you like get into it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't even into like fucking like guns or anything like that until I bought. Actually, nah, scratch that. The first time I ever held a fucking pistol in my hand was like when I was super into it. And I think the reason why I got into firearms is because there was like a community around it that was like very supportive and very manly and shit like that. It was something like the boys did. It was like my dad and a bunch of his coworkers, and fucking guns for days, bro. Like these fools had like fucking shits that been off the roster for years. The fucking they had the Uzi, they had the elephant rifle, they had fucking mad straps that have been off the roster for like 20 plus years. And I think the first time I ever went, it was just me and my pop. And then the second time we went, it was with me and my cousin Kale, or maybe Kale went with the first time with us. That actually makes more sense, because I remember I was 14 and he went with us, and that was like the first time I ever had like those spit sunflower seeds. We had like the chile limon and the black cracked pepper in them flavors. I'll never forget. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but it was like a gang of us had all the straps, but they were like in the car, and it was like late at night, like 11 o'clock or something like that. We all had like a bonfire going on. We're all chilling or whatever, talking about whatever bullshit. And then from off in the distance, we were like, wow, or some shit like that. Like fucking, it sounded loud, but it kind of sounded far away. So we were like, oh shit, that sounded like a motherfucking mountain lion or something like that. And we were like in fucking like, I think we were in Blythe or something, like kind of close to like the Arizona like borderline or something like that. But it was wild. And I remember all of us like some of my dad's coworkers had the hammers on them. So they had like, everybody got up and like took the pieces out, and fucking we're like, everyone was just looking at each other like, oh shit, is it gonna go down right now? Like, are we gonna Swiss cheese a fucking mountain lion or something like that? Can anyone do some research and like let me know if fucking mountain lions or like cougars or whatever are native to Blythe? Because I feel like we only saw coyotes, and I don't know. But just kind of going back to like, you don't really get into something until, I don't know, you have like a proper introduction. Like me, I never really cared about cars until kind of like I had the Accord, and that was when I was kind of getting into it. But now with my new Camry, it was kind of like, oh shit, like they're kind of like, all these new cars are trying to keep up with Tesla. They're trying to keep up with the new technology, and I think it's really dope. I think it's interesting. Competition always breeds kind of like the best out of like anything you do. So whether it be fucking any type of skill, like clothes or anything competitive that you're trying to get like an edge to it, music, cars, anything that takes like real craftsmanship, and you're trying to outdo somebody to get like that sale or that look or whatever, you know what I mean? I fully embrace that. I never liked Teslas because just like, that's like the new hype beast wave. Like, oh, let me get a Tesla or whatever. Don't get me wrong, it has a good rep, good mileage, good yada yada yada. You save a lot of money and all that shit. They got their own coverage. I think that's great. But I feel like me, I'm a real like originator. I want something like of my own. And like, yeah, that's kind of like hypocritical to say, because Camry's kind of like always got that rep, you know what I mean? It's like kind of like the Swiss Army knife of fucking like cars out there, you know. There's like cars out there that people don't really care for, you know, whatever they be, like maybe Nissan Sentras or whatever the fuck, or maybe more compact cars like Corollas. But I feel like the Camry's always been like, you know, you're good. Accords, you're good. Civics, you're good. You just got them cars like they're just known for that, you know. Similar in the way like a Jordan has like that. You know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get some like good quality or at least better quality shoe than most. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say like Jordan as of now has the highest quality like a material of shoe. I'm just saying like as far as like the classic, you stick to fucking what works, the tradition, but then you kind of put on like a contemporary spin on it. I feel like that's dope. Me as an artist, I kind of like salute things like that, just good quality production in a sense where it's like I could just hop in the whip, the color of the car is fire, you know, it's smooth, it drives well, it can accelerate really fast, it could brake really good, you know what I mean? That shit like rocks. That shit like puts me to sleep driving that shit, you know what I mean? Like it's super smooth. Even like shit that'd be like hella bumpy, even in my Accord, I already knew I had to like, you know, shimmy y'all that shit. Even with this new Camry, man, it was like it's super smooth. So like I have to watch out for that, even going through like, even like coming from work, driving from work. I have to be really like cognizant of the fact that it's late at night, I'm tired, and there's been points where I damn near like I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep in the car. It got cruise control in it, but I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna be giving like the car total autonomy like those fucking Waymo things. You know, I shit on them like episodes back, but it's some real shit. Like I ain't gonna let nobody, you know, no robot take control of the car. Like they give a lot of credit to AI. Oh, AI is gonna take all our jobs and all that shit. I feel like it's not, because I feel like the idea of like robots taking over the world, and I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson said this, so maybe I'm just kind of like echoing what he said. But the only reason why we feel like AI is going to take over the world is because that's what we as humans have done. We've pillaged and massacred and fucking just done like a total takeover of like whole civilizations and cultures because of our own personal agendas. Who's to say AI doesn't become sentient and restore order in the world? You know what I mean? That's a total possibility. How come nobody's on that type of shit? Like, oh, AI is going to be what we need. It's going to be like going to provide longevity for the human race, instead of like, oh, it's going to be like Star Wars where fools are just going to use robots as a weapon to gain like fucking world domination. You know what I mean? I just like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I'm kind of rambling off, but so last Saturday, me and my pop went to AEW Revolution. Honestly, bro, this was like one of the best. It might have been like the best wrestling show I ever went to. I took him for his birthday. That was his birthday gift. The tickets were like hella expensive, but you know, it was fire. Nonetheless, it was fire. It was at the Crypto Arena in downtown. We went there. It was like right by where I work too, which is like fucking crazy. You know, I was thinking about going to like work right after and saying hi. I'm glad I didn't. I heard some shit went down. Not no crazy shit, but like I didn't have my badge and it just worked out. Like I wouldn't have been able to go in there and just say hi. I could have. It would have been dead as fuck, but you know, it was just one of those things where I went with my pop and we had a really good time. And it was interesting to me because like my pop, he never really liked wrestling, you know, but like going there and being with the people and seeing like how much of a fun experience it was with me and him, he was like, oh, like I can't wait to like the next one. And that got me looking at shows like the Raw and SmackDown shows. I think on April 10th they're gonna have SmackDown in San Jose. I'm not gonna drive all the way to fucking San Jose and all the way back just to see SmackDown. Like SmackDown's not even a fucking like a live show like that, you know what I mean? Like it's a cool show, but it ain't like a Raw. I'd rather wait till they have like a Raw in Anaheim or LA or I think they're gonna have in Monterrey they're gonna have the Reyes de Reyes or some shit like that, AAA. But I think that one's around the corner too. So I'm trying to do like cool wrestling shows, but like a little later down the line, stuff that makes sense. I do want to go to Tijuana and see one of those AAA shows or Guadalajara or whatever it is. With my dad, I've been told him like, let's just go and fucking to Tijuana together and we'll do it, and he's down for that. The only reason why like I say all this stuff about like leaving my mom at a certain shit is just kind of like, I don't know, man. It's just I like spending time alone with my pop, and me and my mom have never had like a relationship like bonding like that. It was like me and my mom from like when I was young had like a very like rocky like relationship, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's due to my mom and her trauma and the way she dealt with it. She felt like she had like no control of her life from her trauma as a child, so she felt like as a grown-up she has to have like total control of everything, or else like she'll freak the fuck out. You know what I mean? And it's not bad or anything, but I just don't like that. You know, I just don't like the way that my mom gets sometimes. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, me and my mom, you know, we talk and stuff like that, but it's not a relationship that I feel like we should have. You know, I feel like we should be a lot closer, but that's just what it is. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know what I mean? We all like have trauma and we all have to deal with it. And sometimes the way we learn how to cope with these things isn't the healthiest way. I'm not trying to say the way I've dealt with my trauma is like kind of like the right way or whatever. It's just like the bond like that me and my mom have is kind of like, it's cool, but I just wish it was better. You know what I mean? And then with my sister, it's like even more so. Like I feel like it was one of those things with my sister. It was like she really took after my mom, like completely like emotionally detached, almost kind of like fucking is like lacking emotional intelligence. You know, it's one of those things to where like they're in their own worlds and they're not kind of like in the present, you know what I mean? They're like here, but they're not here all the way. Versus like with me and my pop is kind of like, I feel like I really take after my pop. My sister takes after my mom, which is crazy because my sister's always been like little tomboyish, daddy's girl, shit like that. I was kind of neither a mama's boy or a, you know, papa's boy or whatever the fuck you would say that shit. It's just kind of like, I felt like I always like, freedom as an individual was always like important to me, and I could care less about like leaning one way because and then I couldn't really either because I grew up around like a lot of other I was taken care of by a lot of my other family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, shit like that. Mostly it was my grandma Paco, but like, you know, it was like I took different pieces of my family, like whether it be like Jaime, like fucking Pete. I took a lot of like, you know, his personality, his goofiness, you know what I mean? Which is funny because I don't think he is a Sagittarius. What is it? But he's kind of more so like on the, what's before Sag? Fuck, what's before Sag? Fuck. It's not Libra, is it? No, it's Scorpio. That's crazy. So maybe I should get like Jaime's stuff because, I just remember he was one of those cousins that I never really saw, but when I saw him, it was awesome. You know what I mean? So I took a little piece of that. My grandma, she really showed me what it was to be like tough, like how you could just like, you don't let no one fuck with you, but at the same time, you got to respect people. You got to understand that when you're dealing with people outside of the family, it's one way, but when you come into the family, you kind of got to command that respect. You don't let no one fuck with you. You know, sometimes you got to have that tough love, you know what I mean? Because the real world ain't gonna coddle you. The real world ain't gonna fucking open no doors for you. Like, you got to go out there and make it happen for yourself. And I feel like that's kind of like my grandma. Like, she just didn't let nobody fuck with her. She was super tough. Or she is. She's still alive. But I mean, like, you know, both of my grandmas were kind of like tough in their own ways. My abuelita Lola, definitely, I saw the softer side for her. of her. My grandma Paco, fuck no, she had no time to be soft. What the hell? She had like no breaks. Like she took care of everybody's kids. You know what I mean? Through her 50s, through her fucking 60s, and now that she's like, my grandma's in her like, even through her 70s, and now that my grandma's like in her 80s, her like early 80s, it's like kind of crazy. Her birthday's coming up. We're all gonna get together, and I don't know how that's gonna work, because I know for a fact that we're gonna bury my grandma in Mexico around the time that it's my grandma Paco's birthday. So I really don't know how that's gonna work. Probably just take time off of work to do that anyway. Mufasa's birthday is right around the corner. I don't know if I'm gonna take time off for that. His birthday's gonna be on a Sunday, so I don't know. Just family shit out there. Going back to AEW Revolution, it was super long. The only thing I didn't like was just how fucking it kind of dragged on. You know what I mean? I was like super pumped up, but after like match 6, I was like, fuck, there's more fucking matches, bruh. Because when it started at 4, they were doing something called Revolution 0 Hour 0, some shit like that, where it was like, yeah, this is part of the pay-per-view, but not really. And I think there was like 3 or 4 matches. You know what I mean? So they did like a fucking like a battle royal for Ricochet's title. I think he had the Intercontinental Championship or some shit like that. And it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. The only thing, it was like these fools were going under the ropes, in and out of the ring. So there was a point where we're like, wait, who's in, who's out? Because fools were getting dumped in and out of the ring, but they weren't getting eliminated. So we're like, why the fuck are they outside of the ring if like that's kind of how they get eliminated, but they're not really eliminated until it's like they make a big moment out of it. So that was confused. Even people like next to me were like, wait, like, hasn't this fool been eliminated? No. He's like, no? Okay. So I think Jack Perry won the title. He won the Battle Royal. Then a couple matches went by. My pops bought some chicken tenders and fries. And his chicken tenders weren't even cooked all the way. Like, he took a piece of chicken out and it was like raw on the inside. It just looked, I was like, why the fuck does this shit happen with you? Like, my pops always fucking, like, I'll always be like, no, like, you're just tripping, bro. Like, that ain't even, like, you're like exaggerating, bro. But it'll be like some real shit. Like, he does get like some fucked up food sometimes, and it's just funny because it only happens to him, like food poisoning or whatever. Like, that's his deal. Then I bought a pretzel later, and then fuck, I think we were watching the Swerve and what's his name? Is it Brody King? Their match. I felt like Brody should have won. I feel like just Swerve is cool, but like for the size of Brody and all that shit, like I feel like Brody should have just stomped Swerve's ass out. I don't understand how Brody, he could have this feud with MJF where he's like a monster whipping his ass, right? But then like when he goes against Swerve, it's like he kind of, I don't know, man. I feel like he should have whipped Swerve's ass a lot more than what I saw. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should go back and watch the pay-per-view or the PLE again, but I don't know. It was a really good event, and trust me, it was like probably the best shit I ever seen. But just I had like some nitpicking shit about it. I felt like it was too long, and especially like the match with MJF and what's that fool's name? Oh, man, I forgot his name, right? But for the title, they had a Texas Death Match. MJF wore the fucking tights to honor like Terry Funk. It was a good match, but you could tell it was hella fake. The barbed wire was fake. The spot where they had like they broke the window and there was glass all over the floor and they're dragging each other through the glass and nobody's like, that shit would have sliced you open and you would have been bleeding everywhere if it was real glass, but it's obviously not. Everyone knows it's not, and people were laughing at like how absurd the match was and not really paying attention to like the technicality of the actual wrestling going on. So I understand what like Jim Cornette says about it, like, oh, you're just paying for people to just beat each other over the head with bats, and you're not watching like a real wrestling match. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where I agree with that, but also at the same time, I was entertained. The spot where he grabs Cowboy, what's that fucking cowboy's name, bruh? Fuck, I don't know. Fuck, man. But MJF, he sticks a fucking needle through his mouth and then he squirts the whatever, the liquid out of it. That was funny, but nevertheless, it was like a really great event. I love spending time with my pop. You know, afterwards I went to Taco Bell and I got like 2 tacos and a burrito. You know, my dad still had to have like work the next day, which was wild because it was a Sunday, so obviously he had to go into work after. So AEW Revolution, it was really good. I don't know if out of a scale of 1 to 10, probably give it like a 7 or something like that. It was just too long and some of the shit wasn't believable to me. But that's like being like real nitpicky. I've been watching wrestling live to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, I could get a better eye of like critiquing it. Versus some people were just like, they didn't even know what the fuck was going on. And I just felt like some people were there just to be there and not because they were like real fans of AEW. Some people were hardcore fans, some people were not. And I was like yelling the whole time, like especially with the Jon Moxley versus that one the Asian dude's name I forgot, but Jon Moxley has a spot where he's biting his head or some shit like that, and I yelled out, "Tastes just like sushi," and people were busting up laughing. And yeah, I was just yelling shit out. I love Jon Moxley, like as a wrestler. His shit is hard as fuck. You know, his whole get down is awesome. He's like one of my favorite wrestlers. He might be my favorite wrestler from AEW. It's like Moxley, MJF. Oh no, I'm fucking tired. It's 3 now, but I had a couple of more things I wanted to say. I want to get all this shit out, right? I just saw Terrifier for the first time, the first Terrifier. It's fucking weird that I actually enjoyed this movie. A fucking clown just killing people, goes into a pizza shop, you know, fucking stabs this dude repeatedly with like a little fucking like, it kind of looked like a little knife you get out of a fishing tackle box or something like that, just poking him and shit like that. You know, this fool just kills everybody in the movie and ends up eating the face of the chick from like the beginning of the movie. Just like, I don't even know how I found that enjoyable. It was one of those things where it's like it's like a slasher flick, but it has like comedy to it, and it's like giving throwback to like the 80s slasher films or whatever. So that's kind of like what I found enjoyable out of it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like, going back to like a 7. It's not the greatest thing, but I found it to be thoroughly entertaining. You know what I mean? I wanted to watch the whole thing. And movies don't get my attention like that, bro. Like nowadays movies are really lame. I'll fall asleep in it in the movie theaters. Like when I saw Mercy, that was a dog shit movie. The fact that I saw a movie where people are just getting hacked to death, you know what I mean? On paper, I should just turn it off like 5 minutes in. But the fact that I saw that shit and it was thoroughly entertaining, and I saw a movie that on paper is about AI taking over the world, mercy, guns, the justice system, I should be loving it, right? Nah, fuck that shit. I was fucking falling asleep. My pops was asleep. It was just like not a good movie at all. So with the Terrifier, it was a dope movie. Like I want to see like 2 and 3. Chris Jericho's in the 3rd one, so that's really why. That's like kind of what got me into it, like interested in the first place. Seeing the clown and shit, I was like, oh, this shit is creepy. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? But I saw like the genius of it. You know what I mean? The originality of it. It's kind of like, you know, Art the Clown is this fucking like our generation's like, I guess like Michael Myers or something like that. You know, really interesting movie. I would recommend it to people who enjoy like those kind of like slasher films or whatever. There's all this shit going on about like Ceasar Chavez, bruh, and I don't know like really how to feel about it, because on one hand I do understand like, okay, like if you're a woman and you've been like abused by your husband or your man or whatever, and then you don't speak about it until later, I get that. But with this whole shit going on with Iran getting bombed, the price of everything is going up with gas, you know, the raza with the whole ice shit. Why now is this coming out? You know what I mean? We always want to go with the why, right? Why is Cesar Chavez the face of the whole fucking like illegal immigration, you know, farm worker movement, all FEMA, all that type of shit? Why is that coming to light now? They want to rename Cesar Chavez Day and all that shit. It's just crazy to me, bro, how like programming and it's just the assassination of characters. I've been through it, so I know what the fuck it means to have people try to just completely have a smear campaign about you, and like with these Democrats and like these socialist type of like ideas and all this shit. It's just really weird to me. I'm not for like Democrats or Republicans either way. I'm all about like being an individual and thinking for yourself. So with this whole Cesar Chavez shit, I see it both ways, right? Like, I get it. He was talking shit on a lot of his interviews, but guess what, man? Listen, bro, Malcolm X was a pimp. He was like the face. He was one of the faces. Like, when I think of the civil rights movement, I think of obviously Martin Luther King, but then Malcolm X. When you think about the raza, the movement of like agriculture and just like, when we talk about like this, like maybe not civil rights, but just like rights for the raza in general, you think of Cesar Chavez. So, you know, Martin Luther King, that didn't happen to him. Malcolm X, it was kind of like same thing. He started talking shit and then they shot him. You know what I mean? Allegedly. I don't know about the whole thing, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like we kind of use, like, I don't know what it is, bro. Like, we have these figures in our movement and they just get assassinated, the character. Like, in real life, they either get assassinated or the character gets assassinated. Michael Jackson, you know what I mean? Who they try to do that to? Cat Williams, you know what I mean? Like, there's like artists, or celebrities out there where this happens to, and you're just like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Where is this coming from? And my whole biggest thing is why? Like, why is this happening now? Fucking Cesar Chavez represents all Chicanos out there. And it's kind of like, for this shit to happen, it just blows my mind. And people, like, I see this shit in the news like every day, and it's like, for what, bro? Like, so what? You know? We've all made mistakes, you know? We've all kind of like been through shit. Yeah, some worse than others, but bro, like, this fool literally created a whole fucking movement, regardless of his views, regardless of like the shit he did in his personal life. This fool really like put on for our people. You get what I mean? He fought for our people in a way that people don't even do now. Like, people think they do shit when all they do is sit around and repost and like and comment. But fucking Cesar Chavez was fucking doing shit that like y'all wouldn't even do now. Like, you would get shot for or shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, he really figured out a way to improve the quality of life for farm workers at a time where like big corporate industry was like trying to keep us like in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, no pun intended. But like, here we go, like fucking almost 100 years later or whatever the fuck, of like revisionist history. Oh no, who you thought was like a great idol or a good character? Nah, he was really like a fucking drunk, woman beaten, sexually abusing or whatever the fuck. Like, whatever it is, like, man, what the fuck? Like, we can't have shit as a people, bruh. Like, because here we go with the programming. I get it, that's his wife or whatever the fuck it was. But bruh, like, are you serious right now? Why now? Why fucking now? I get it, man. Like you chose like a perfect timing to choose. You get what I mean? With this whole ICE shit going on. Listen, bro, ain't nothing getting better. If anything, is getting worse. And the fact that we're like, I'm seeing this shit is like, oh fuck, like, we really have to like look out for each other now more than ever, because what if that was like your dad or your brother or your son or whatever? You know what I mean? Builds a whole fucking movement all for like, you know, however many years later, it just gets shit on, you know? It's just fucking weird how like I'm just seeing some of this shit and I'm just like, nah, I'm not with this shit at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't condone what he the shit that he's done, his mistakes. But guess what? We've all make mistakes. We all go through our own fucking shit or whatever. Like, bro, ain't nobody perfect. But, you know, let's not get it confused, bro. Like, there's people out here that have really done and like changed the culture. When you look at things and our movements, when you look at like Ceasar Chavez, I'm not familiar with our Chicano movement like that, so forgive me. But when you look at like is his name Escalante or whatever the fuck his name was, Stand and Deliver, right? Edward James Olmos. You can even argue what's his name, Danny Trejo. Like, just real, like, we need those great representations of artists to hold down the culture. And that's why I went like crazy like with the gun, like Lefty Gunplay shit, because I'm like, we actually have great examples of Chicanos. Why is this fool getting a Grammy? We have the greatest example of the movement, Ceasar Chavez. Why is his character getting assassinated now? You know, the message of the day is you got to read between the lines. You know, don't just take shit at face value. You know, when people talk shit about somebody, is that really what it is? Or is that what they want you to believe? Because if it's something, if it's part of an agenda, bro, I would look at that shit twice and read between the lines and be like, I don't know, man. Like, should I believe that just because you want me to? Or should I believe that because that's what it is? And if it's really not what it is, read between the lines. This is the God's Hour.
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now, while the angels fly over my headstone.